Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, we're going to talk about cool season vegetables here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And what do I mean by cool season vegetables? Here in the summertime, it's a little hot for some of our leafy greens like lettuce, kale, collards, that kind of thing. Also, our root vegetables like onions and carrots and beets and those kinds of things. It's too hot to grow them in the peak of the summer, but we get two windows, one in the fall and one in the late winter and early spring, where we can grow these things very well. And we have a pretty good amount of time that we can enjoy picking these things and growing them in our gardens. And so some of the things will get direct seeded out here into the vegetable garden, and we'll show you the prep for the garden between now and the time that those things go in the ground, which is typically right around the 1st of March. Here in Raleigh. You can go online, search your city and vegetable planting chart or vegetable planting guide, and find a guide that will tell you if you're going to start things from seed, when they should be started from seed, if you're going to start things by putting the seed directly in the ground, direct seeding times. And so you'll notice on this chart here for Raleigh, we have two times where we can plant these cool season vegetables. One in the late summer, we can start seed, and then the plants go in the ground mid-fall or so, 1st of October-ish. And then now a window where we can start seeds right at the end of January, 1st of February, and those seeds will go in the ground right around the 1st of March. Our average last frost date is right around April 15th, so there's a window where these lettuces and broccoli and cauliflower and kale and Swiss chard and so on and so forth. There's a window where there can be some heavy frost and some hard freezes. So we do have a cover available to put over these things to give them some protection. We start seed in the house on a light rack. I showed this light rack being constructed over 5 years ago. It cost a little more to do it this way, to initially build that light rack. I haven't had to replace anything on it in all that time, and it's still working fantastic. So whereas I did have some upfront cost, that cost gets divided every single time I do another round of vegetable seed. So I'm doing cool season vegetables now. A month from now, we're going to start seed for our summer vegetables, peppers, tomatoes, those kinds of things in there, and then again in the fall. So every year I'm getting 3-4 rotations on that light rack, which is reducing the cost, each time over the lifespan of those lights. There are lots of other ways to start seed, winter sowing, and all kinds of things lots of ways to start seed. I like starting things from seed. I think it's enjoyable to watch the entire process, whether that's a flowering perennial or a flowering annual that you like sunflower, or vegetable seed, some lettuce, tomatoes, whatever it is. I think it's a very enjoyable process to do the entire thing beginning to end. And so I'll just throw that out there. It doesn't really matter the technique as much as it does, get out there and do it because it's fun. We use a solid plastic tray on the bottom. I've shown these. There's a playlist on the channel for seed starting. So whether it's summer vegetables or fall vegetables, I've shown these trays several times. This is a solid, rigid tray. It can be used over and over and over again. It can be re-cleaned. A lot of people will use a little bit of bleach when they clean them, but spoiler alert, I've never done anything but rinse them out and reuse them. This one happens to be new. I had a few new ones on a shelf that, been sitting out there for 3 years and haven't used because we typically reuse them. And then we have this 50 cell rigid tray that we use. I'll sometimes just use this if we're doing something like microgreens, or if I just want to seed out some things really close together. Again, microgreens, there's a video on the channel for doing microgreens, but this I want individual plants, and so I can transplant them easily into the ground. Again, this is a 50 cell rigid, very rigid tray that can be used over and over and over again. If you get a tear on one end or something, you can flip 2 of these around and put them together and just use 2 broken ones and make a new one out of that. These will last years and years. I use them for, gosh, I probably had some that I used nearly 10 years at the nursery. So not the most inexpensive investment, but you can get years of life out of them. And then whatever seed starting mix you want to use, you can use something seed starting mix, something that says germination mix. No telling what it'll say on the bag. You can use a compost blend. Any soil that will wick water up with the technique that I use, because I don't want to water from the top down. I don't want to wet my new seedlings. as the seed is germinated and the seedlings are up, I don't want to be watering the top of them. So basically we have this solid tray on the bottom, and we can just pull the edge out just like that and water directly down into that tray, and the soil will wick the water up the other way, and we can keep the top of the plants dry, and that tends to cut down on disease issues, that you might have inside with not a lot of air movement inside. You don't want the seedlings to stay wet. Some of our seed will go directly in the ground, and that's definitely going to be all the root vegetables. And so things like carrots and beets definitely going to go directly in the ground. And again, you can just follow the seed starting chart for direct seeding that time of year from the chart for your area. So here in Raleigh, about the 1st of March for my carrots and beets, that's when I'm going to put the seed directly in the ground. The reason we don't do those in a tray is because it's a root crop that has a tap root. And a carrot's just a tap root. That's what it is. That tap root will reach the bottom, and then it will bend, and it will never develop properly from a transplant in the ground, typically. So those things go directly in the ground. We'll also do some kale and some arugula, just where we just basically throw out a handful into a small space that we've worked up just a bit. And we're going to show the garden prep in a separate video. So the garden will be ready when these seedlings are ready and when these other things that are being direct seeded go in. And then our peas, we direct seed into the ground. Really no reason to start those in the house. They'll germinate in 3 or 4 days in the ground. So any kind of peas. Those things go directly in the ground, whatever time of year it says on your planting chart. The things that we're doing from seed in the house, lettuce can be direct seeded into the ground out here, but the problem is I only have let's say I only have from March 1st until about June 15th before it bolts. And by bolting, I mean it comes to flower. We don't want flowers on these leafy vegetables because that kind of ends them putting on new leaves. And the leaves are what we're trying to eat. So they bolt when it gets hot. So I only have this brief window. So if I put this seed out the beginning of March in the ground, it's probably going to be the middle of April or even later before I'm picking a few leaves off of these things. And then I'm in the end stretch to where the heat can possibly make them bolt. And so I end up with small plants that bolt early. We get just a little bit out of it. So I find that by starting the lettuce in the house, we're putting a plant in the ground that's almost ready to start picking off of in early March. So we have that whole window of March, April, and May where we can get actual lettuce out of the ground. So that's the main reason. There's a couple other cool season herbs that we grow as well. So we grow cilantro and parsley from seed right now, and it'll go in the ground again the beginning of March. And then broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. Those are 3. We just don't have enough time to put a broccoli seed in the ground at the beginning of March and have the plant fully mature and give us a broccoli head before the heat runs it out. But typically what will happen is the flowers will just prematurely start opening before the head is fully. We end up very small heads or the flowers will start opening. That's what happens on them. So the broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower, we want to do them from plants in the beginning of March. That gives us a full, again, almost 3 months for that plant to really get some size on it and really form a large head before the heat, causes an issue. You can see Holly is bored with me talking about vegetable seeds this morning. So here is a Bibb lettuce. This came from Johnny's Seed. We are equal opportunity seed purchasers. So we have Johnny's Seed and Park Seed, and it doesn't really matter. We have seed we've collected. We've had seed that is given to us. We'll trade for seed. Doesn't matter. This particular Bibb lettuce, the seed is now over a year old, and we'll use them for a couple of years. We'll mark on the pack how many of each individual plant we want to grow. It's very easy to overdo here, to do a whole tray of these, because there's 500 seed in here, but we just don't have that much room in the garden, and I've got 4 or 5 different lettuces I'm going to use. So I'm going to do 1 tray of lettuce. It's 50 plants, so there'll be 10 of these, 10 of another one, maybe 15 butter crunch, because that's kind of my favorite, and that's plenty of plants. It's more lettuce than we can consume, plus we're going to have kale out there as well to blend into the lettuce. This seed is tiny. You might see now that a lot of the seed is pelletized. Okay, so it has basically a coating on the outside of it, and it's really, I think, mainly meant to allow mechanical seeders to be able to seed this tray mechanically easily, because that small seed is almost impossible for some sort of robotic planting. Those some of that coated seed you'll see now, you can just, I think it's best to put that seed just directly on top and not cover the seed. I've had very little luck covering those types of pelletized seed. I prefer just the natural seed without the coating on it anyway. Again, this seed is a couple years old, and so I will take 3 or 4 of these and put them in each cell. And with a seed this small, I don't even dig a little hole, I'll put it right on top, and then I just kind of press it gently and cover it. I need a little bit more water in this tray, but I have the water in the bottom. It's in the process of soaking it up right now. But again, I just have 3 or 4 seed pinched in there. I'm going to thin them. I don't know how many are going to come up. So let's say 3 come up. I'll just take, in about 2 weeks, the most vigorous seedling will be kept and the other 2 will be cut out. But again, each of these cells, I'm putting 3 or 4 seeds in. I'm not being incredibly super accurate about it. It might be 3 and it might be 5. And it's be impossible for you guys to see this tiny little seed going in. The other way I'll do it frequently is just by tapping the pack, just like this. You can also kind of just gently tap out 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever you're going for in each one. Newer seed, I'll use less seed in each one, but I'll just lightly tamp those down. Again, this soil mix is a little dry. Wet it a couple hours ago, but it takes a long time for that water to come up. We'll make a tag for it. The tag, this one just says Bib Lettuce. Typically I'll write, this is a Johnny seed pack. A lot of times I'll write Johnny's on it. I'll write the date that we're doing it, and then I'll put this in the front corner of the tray. These tags can be reused. You can scrape this off, or you can just mark it out and use the back. You can use bottles, you can use anything, but I do recommend that you mark the trays or mark the individual things, because we don't know whether this is going to be a big winner or a big loser in the garden, and so I want to be able to document it later. So this tag will go into the corner here. These 2 rows we know are this particular Bib lettuce. That tag will follow it into the garden, and then later on in the season we can write down whether or not it was a success or a failure. The other thing you'll see us do here in February is I'll start some of my tubers, my flowering tubers like dahlias and a few other things early. I'll show that in a video. We'll have potatoes going in, which is kind of another cool season crop for us. It tend to grow like crazy in the late winter, early spring, and into early summer, and then they just kind of shut down. Again, it can be actually done again in the fall as well. So that vegetable planting guide is your friend as to when seed starting occurs versus when direct seeding occurs versus what time of year it is. Obviously, we try to, again, I'm kind of being as, I've done this for so long. I've always done too many seeds. Even this year where I've really planned on how many seeds we're going to be doing, I've done too many. I'll end up doing too many seeds. It's just easy, really, really easy to overdo. We're going to leave a little bit of space out there for our summer vegetables just to be plugged in later, because these things, again, all of these cool season things we're talking about, whether it's carrots, beets, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, Swiss chard, cilantro, parsley, lettuce, I'm going to miss a bunch of things, a few other things here. All of these things will grow into June. Long before that, probably late April, I will want to put my tomatoes and peppers and those kinds of things in. So a little bit of space will be left in the garden for those things to be plugged into. Those things can come up, get a little size on them, and potentially shade some of these a little bit and prevent them from bolting maybe quite as early. And so that's part of the thinking as well, is leaving some space for my summer vegetables in the process. And so there you go. There's the the cool season thoughts. Again, some things get direct seeded, some things get started from seed. We use the light rack in the house. Again, there's lots of other seed starting techniques that are available. I just encourage you to do it, or at least try a few things from seed. It's very rewarding to see something germinate from seed and then put it out in your garden and have it grow for the season and perform. And you get to do the entire process. You can even collect the seed on it at the end of the season and store that through the winter and do it all over again. So, and share the seeds, with other people, and share how you did it with other people. So Thank you guys very much for following along with the channel. February is going to be a crazy month of, this is the very beginning of cleaning up the garden, edging, mulching, fertilizing, getting our summer vegetables started as well, these cool season vegetables going in the ground, and so on and so forth. It's time to ramp up. It's my favorite time of the year because here in Raleigh, we just have the perfect temperatures typically in February and March to get lots and lots of work done in the garden and set up the summer for success. Thanks for watching.